Raw live. I'm back with Saqib. Islamic Saqib, how's it going, bro?
Welcome assalam, alhamdulillah. Good.
What are we talking about today?
Talking about jinns.
Yep. Jinns and dawah.
The jinns and dawah, yeah.
Jinn and dawah, basically. It's going to be an interesting topic.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we haven't actually ventured out into talking about these types of topics before, right?
Well, we had a really popular John Fontaine clip from last year, and how he experienced his experiences with the jinn and amulet and etc. So we dabbled in it. We haven't gone into detail.
John has some really interesting stories, before he became Muslim, subhanAllah.
Okay.
But before we sort of get into that, brothers and sisters, make sure to subscribe to the IRA channel, inshallah, because Rerooted is live right now during Ramadan. But as we get out of Ramadan, we're going to be reverting back to our recorded videos, inshallah. So make sure to subscribe and click the notification bell so you're informed as to when we launch these shows or put out these shows in the future. When we title this video, bro,
go on.
Jinn and Dawah, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm sure people are thinking, what is the link between Jinn and Dawah? Yeah? Firstly, for anyone that doesn't know what Jinn are, why don't you give us a sort of brief summary, bro?
Oh, thank you.
There may be non-Muslims watching this show, well, to be honest, to be fair, a lot of non-Muslims these days do know what jinn are. I don't talk about this in a bit.
I mean, certain ones, I would say certain.
Certain group of...
some.
Yeah.
The YouTuber type.
For those that don't know what jinn are.
Okay. So pretty much, the jinn are a creation which were made before humans were. And they were made from a smokeless fire. Whereas man was made from clay, the jinn were made from a smokeless fire. And Satan, is a part of this creation as well. He is a jinn. He's not like usually people, we would still get it mixed up with the Abrahamic faith. Us as Muslims always sort of sometimes get mixed up with biblical stories.
Yeah.
And
what is the biblical sort of narrative?
Christians believe that Iblis or Satan or Lucifer, as they call him, is a fallen angel. Fallen angel, yeah. Exactly. He's a fallen angel. Whereas we think no, he was a jinn who was elevated amongst the angels for what he did before man was created. So yeah.
So Satan, the character of Satan, he is a jinn, or from the jinn kind.
Yeah.
And jinn they're another form of being that exists, that we can't really and shouldn't really directly interact with.
Yeah.
But they're out there. And what's interesting
emphasis on the word shouldn't.
Yeah, and they're not physical like we're physical. They're not made of the same sort of material basis that we're made of. They've like you said, as the Quran informs us of, they're made of a type of smokeless fire.
Yeah.
Now, exactly what this means, we don't need to get into in this video or in this live. But what's interesting, bro, is like I mentioned a few moments ago, the idea of jinn or these other beings that exist, is not unique to Islam. It's something that was mentioned in other traditions, in other cultures.
I mean, yes, it's cross-cultural.
It is. And even today, bro, you see that there's this type of movement. The type of non-Muslim individuals. There's people out there that are really into this type of stuff. They're really into the paranormal. They're really into jinn, the supernatural. And they actually, many times when they're doing their presentations and they're doing their sort of videos and their content, they do mention Islam as well, because they recognize Islam speaks about jinn, and it mentions jinn and it speaks about their nature and etc. and all of these types of things. I want to get into that a bit later, but to start off with, we really want to take this discussion, bro. And by the way, brothers and sisters, if you're watching, we want you to share your stories. So if you know of any stories, or you've come across any experiences, or you've heard some story where someone has had an experience with jinn and then they discovered Islam because of this, please share your stories with us, inshallah. Maybe you yourself were in this position, because I know of many individuals that have had this experience where they were maybe not practicing, maybe non-Muslim. They had some sort of an experience, a sort of supernatural experience, which led them to Islam, right? Have you guys ever had any of these experiences? Jamal, Saqib, have you guys ever sort of heard any stories, know any brothers that, obviously John Fontaine is someone that we all know, but anyone else for that matter?
Jamal, I was looking over at you.
Jamal, I'm sure Jamal has stories, mashallah.
I mean, there's lots of stories actually that people come across when it comes to the jinn, and these stories are quite interesting actually. So give me a minute or two, and I'll come up with some.
Okay, so Jamal's gonna think, just sort of think of something that you can tell us, inshallah.
Definitely.
Saqib, come on, bro.
Off the top of my head, I mean, except for the John Fontaine one, I can't really. I mean, before I was really practicing, everyone seems to get excited when it comes to jinn stories.
Yeah.
It was just. I remember.
Why is that? Why is there this fascination?
I think
with the supernatural, Muslim, non-Muslim, there's this fascination. Even online, bro, there's this huge sort of subculture of this, people that are interested in the paranormal, interested in jinn and all of these things.
But I mean, it filters into loads of different areas. You got like extraterrestrials, UFOs, ghost stories, etc., etc. So it does, when it does cross over to other sort of cultures and religions, it does merge into something else. Yeah. They have another sort of explanation for it.
But that's just of course. So what they're doing is they're explaining what they're observing.
Yeah.
You can give that any label, right? Call it ghosts, call it jinn. They may call it something else, right? Other beings, whatever. But there is something that people are picking up on throughout history, different cultures. That there is some sort of a being or some sort of entity that's there, which is beyond what we can see through via our sort of physical eyes, but it exists, and it can at times interact with human beings. In a way, where, for example, all of these sort of paranormal shows you see on TV where they go into haunted houses and, they're recording, they spend the night there and they're recording and they're trying to pick up on what they call paranormal activity.
Yeah. And they'll have those sort of meters with the readers. Stuff, I forgot what they call exactly. But I mean, it's just, I don't know, you hear loads of stories from Pakistan. For some reason, when someone goes to Pakistan or back home, wherever it may be, the jinn stories sort of exponentially sort of grow. Like they're like on a whole different level. Whereas in England or in the West, you don't really get them as much. I mean, as experiences.
Well, this is the thing. So you won't get them in the cities, right? But still, I mean, the older generation, even in the West, right? You will find that they would have stories that they tell. Right? So if you spend time with someone that's born and brought up in the West, is British, English, and they're in their maybe 70s and 80s right now, because I know my neighbors now they moved, but they used to be quite old, and they used to talk about these stories. I mean, it was common amongst them as well to talk about these type of stories about ghosts and jinn or whatever else they may be referred to. Maybe not
actually,
jinn.
You know what? I do have a story. There is one story. There's a local imam down my road, and he's known for ruqya, in terms of exercising sort of jinn from people. And there was actually a non-Muslim family. I think one of the children was possessed. And this non-Muslim family, I don't know, there must have been a Muslim who told them, he said, I know someone who could help you. And this non-Muslim family actually went to visit the imam. Alhamdulillah, I mean, it seems like everything was successful. I don't know. I need to know whether or not they followed up in terms of learning more about Islam. You'd think they would, right? But that's just one. That's a story. That's a story I heard from someone else. The second or third time.
It's interesting because Mohsin told me a story which just comes to mind now.
Okay.
Where one of his friends, I think, does ruqya, and he went to see a guy who was an atheist. But who was having issues, like he was having some problems. He felt like he wouldn't call it a possession, but he would, obviously from the, in his terms, he was referring to it as something that would overtake him and make him feel like, he can't control himself and stuff like this. And he had tried medication and stuff like this. So this brother goes and performs ruqya on him. And after, I don't know if it was one session, I don't remember, it was a few sessions. He felt himself getting better, something leave him, he actually experienced something which he himself said he couldn't put into he couldn't explain physically. But I think if I can remember correctly, maybe chime in here, his friend I think maybe gave him dawah or asked him to explain it, and how would he explain it from an atheist perspective, but he said he couldn't. I don't know if he didn't, as far as I know, he didn't become Muslim, but he said he experienced something that he just couldn't explain physically or from an atheist perspective.
Okay.
Why are you smiling?
No, there's another one that's come to mind.
Okay, go on. We're getting warmed up, Jamal. Wait, Jamal, have you got any, bro?
They're all flooding in. I've got this one's quite humorous. But Jamal, have you got any?
Yeah, like I said, there's many stories, but one thing I was just going to say is that from a non-Muslim perspective, there are many people who have this fascination with the supernatural, and obviously ghost stories. You see many people, they go, even on TV now, there's so many programs when it comes to like haunted houses and stuff like that. And because of this fascination, and I think that's a sort of point that you're going to be alluding to later on in the show today, because of this fascination, you find that when people have this, when they come to know about the jinn, and I think it becomes more real to them when they sort of understand the reality of it. And I think that's one of the reasons why, which, you start to see them having this piques of interest when it comes to Islam. So it's very an educational sort of thing. So it's something which is to be taken quite seriously, actually, because many people actually, they really have an interest in it, and obviously from there we start to see some different things happening.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. I think to a degree it's become taboo as well, because we live in such a secular, materialistic type of environment. I think loads of people have experiences, non-Muslims have experiences too, but they don't speak about them. Just like, depression is a taboo for the Asian community, generally speaking. You don't really speak about it much. I think just taking the context of the world that we live in, which is very atheistic, secular, it's quite a taboo subject to speak about. Oh, I've had an experience which I couldn't explain physically, and it just felt like it was something else, basically.
I was gonna come in from two angles, from the dawah per se, in regards to explaining jinns. So the first one would be, okay, there's two scenarios, right? The first one would be the one that we're kind of touching upon now, is explaining jinns or explaining a supernatural occurrence to a non-Muslim and trying to relate that to a jinn experience, to our explanations of what jinns are and what the supernatural is. That's one.
Yeah.
And the second one is, maybe a new Muslim has done, they've done all the research they could have, but they didn't come across the topic of jinns, right? And then after they became Muslim, now you're telling them about jinns, and they're like thinking, okay, this is a bit far-fetched now. I'm presuming potentially they could be saying that, right?
Yeah.
So how would you explain that?
I think there's a third angle as well.
Okay.
Which is, if someone has had experiences which they can't explain, or the paranormal experiences, we don't have to necessarily, from a dawah perspective, try to say, oh, look, this is how you should understand it, this is what jinn are. If anything, what that experience has done, bro, is it's opened them up.
It broadened their horizons.
It's broadened their horizons, and it's opened them up to the possibility of the supernatural.
Of the unseen.
Unseen, exactly. And then, and that's good enough, because now they're not arrogant or ignorant even from that perspective, right? They're open. So when you talk about, Islam and you talk about Allah, it'll make sense. And, they may even connect the dots and think, okay, if humans exist, these other beings exist, there's a paranormal realm, then it's not far-fetched to believe that there's a creator, because all of this has to be explained somehow, right? There has to be a cause for all of this. So there's many ways you can, from a dawah perspective, tie in. But yeah, there's many stories, bro. Like before we did this live, I was doing a bit of research on YouTube, bro, and I was surprised to find how many videos there are of revert brothers and sisters who have had experiences, bro, have had paranormal experiences which led them to Islam.
Okay. So someone in the comments section's asking, link for live question. Just ask your question in the live chat.
Yeah, in the live chat, brothers and sisters. Yeah, so at the moment, we're not at the point where we can get you guys on. Inshallah, soon we will have that facility.
Let me read some of the comments.
Yeah, go on.
First one is from Khalid. When are you guys giving dawah to the jinns? And then I think Ominous Malwi, I remember them from last time we did a live. Oh, we've got Fadli on, mashallah.
Mashallah.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers. So, walaikum assalam, bro. Khalid said again, can't wait to see the Dawah Diary series on that one. Yeah, maybe. There might be an episode on that. We'll have to ask the boys. Oh yeah, there's an ayat from the Quran. I haven't double checked it, but it's from Amal saying, I did not create the jinn and mankind except to worship me.
Yeah. This is the most powerful ayah as far as when it comes to our purpose. And Allah is telling us here that our purpose and the purpose of jinn is to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why we were created. Both these beings were created. And we see this, shaitan, like you said, Iblis, before he became shaitan, he worshipped Allah, and he worshipped Allah so perfectly, or to the to such a degree that he was elevated to the ranks of the angels. So he was fulfilling his purpose, which was to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So subhanAllah, that's very interesting as well. And we know the Prophet ﷺ, there was points when we read the seerah that he had encounters with the jinn.
Yeah.
He at times the jinn would listen into, I think if it's Surah Jinn or if it's another chapter where they listened into the recitation of the Prophet ﷺ, and they were blown away by it, they were amazed by it.
Yeah.
And there's many stories like this. Another really fascinating thing, and by the way, brothers and sisters, before I go into what I was going to talk about, make sure to subscribe and click the notification bell, inshallah. So when we do in the future do recorded videos, you guys can inshallah watch them and you'll be notified. And also let us know your thoughts. The whole point of these lives inshallah during Ramadan is to get your thoughts on the sort of topics we're discussing. So if you've had any experiences with jinn, if you know any stories where someone has been led to Islam because of the experiences with jinn, please do share them in the comment section, and Brother Saqib will read them out inshallah.
I mean, yeah, we got one brother here, Wasim. He's saying he's had his own experiences. His own sister was possessed by a jinn. She's recovered now, alhamdulillah, but she's still traumatized. So yeah. And then you got Muhammad Gorki, mashallah. I need some stuff from you for Muhammad. He's transcribing some stuff for the step-by-step course. Inshallah. I think he just messaged me now anyway. I'll follow up in a message, inshallah.
So here's another interesting dawah / jinn observation. Yeah, on YouTube, there's loads of. We've seen a sort of trend over the past 2 years or so, probably a bit more, where you have non-Muslims who are doing reaction videos to Muslim content, Islamic content.
Yeah.
But what I found really interesting was that a lot of reaction videos to Islamic content is specifically reactions to videos on jinn.
I
was looking at
before today. I didn't even know. I thought I always came on my YouTube feed. I always got the typical ones of somebody listened to like Quran recitation and then put the tears on.
No, but what's interesting, bro, is that it leads to that.
Okay.
Like, because one specific YouTuber, I wouldn't mention the name, but I went through the feed because I came across a video, like you mentioned, they're listening to the Quran recitation, okay?
Yeah.
And they're reacting to it. Yeah, it was a powerful video, subhanAllah. And then I went through their feed on YouTube and you saw that a few months ago, they were predominantly doing reaction videos to jinn videos. And then slowly they transitioned over into doing reaction videos to Islamic videos, or general Islamic videos. And I thought that's really interesting, subhanAllah. And that again emphasizes the point that there are a lot of people that are interested in this phenomenon of jinn. And in many cases, it leads them to Islam, right? But the main videos that they're reacting to, I don't know what you call it. I think this is subculture online. It's these Saudi jinn adventures. Yeah. Have you seen those videos? Have you guys seen those videos before?
I've seen, I've got a few of them on WhatsApp.
Jamal sent me one once as well with the door slamming. Jamal, do you remember?
I do. Yeah. That one.
if you can bring something up maybe, and it'll be interesting to, because almost every reaction video I saw to jinn videos was these Saudi type of adventures into these barren, desolate places, and where there was no. I think we're trying to play something.
Can you hear that?
Yeah, we can hear it. Can't see it at the moment.
1 second. You'll see it in a sec.
So yeah, let's watch this actually. Why not?
Just 1 second. Technical glitch.
Little technical glitch, brothers and sisters.
Right.
Let's pause that for a minute.
Let's pause that.
Should we act it out?
Huh?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, so brothers and sisters, we're gonna play a clip, inshallah. We want you to watch it and let us know your thoughts on it, because I don't know what to make of these clips, to be very honest. Yeah, to be very, very honest and raw about this. Some of them seem very genuine, others don't seem as genuine, right? But Allah knows best, bro. Yeah, but these are the videos that are creating a lot of excitement and buzz amongst the sort of non-Muslim YouTube community that are doing reaction videos. I don't know what to make. What do you think?
I can mention the other jinn story that I was smiling about.
Oh yeah, go on. Whilst we're sorting out the clips.
So no naming or shaming here, but one of the brothers we know, he's a new Muslim brother. He had some issues, and I think the Imam here of a local imam here. He was doing ruqya on him, but he always needed an extra person, an extra man, or extra pair of hands to pin him down, because he'd get quite aggressive and strong. And the imam did say to the extra person, the brother that we know, like, I think it was either recite Ayatul Kursi, and then he started reciting it, and then the jinn inside the brother, the new Muslim brother, he would say, you're reciting it wrong, your tajweed's all over the place.
Subhanallah. Subhanallah.
So, yeah.
I've actually myself seen someone we know, you may not know him, but we've seen the brother. I was actually there when the brother was doing ruqya on him, and it was really strange, bro. Like some of the things that he was experiencing and some of the things he was saying, like you would think, where he doesn't know this. Like for example, he was reciting certain parts of the Quran back to the brother reciting, okay? And you think, hold on, you don't know as much Quran. You haven't memorized, like, you just recently come to Islam. You don't know as much Quran. You haven't memorized this much Quran. So the things he was saying during that session is like, how does he know this? And he was, how does he know these ayat? When did he learn these, right? And then just to see him, the way he was sweating at the end of it was a freezing cold day in winter, and the guy was just breaking out into sweats. It was subhanAllah, it was something else, man.
So okay, let's bring it back to the topic. So let's say you came across one of these YouTubers who's doing a reaction video, and they're doing particularly they're doing reaction videos to these jinn videos, right? How would you give them dawah?
So this is what, okay, I'm going to tell you, but brothers and sisters, this is an opportunity for all of us to give dawah, yeah? After you go off this live stream, maybe find some of these videos where you have these non-Muslims doing reaction videos to jinn videos, and in the comment section, this is how you can give them dawah, right? Just mention them. It's a really interesting video. I see that you find the topic of jinn quite interesting. Islam speaks about jinn, the Quran speaks about jinn. If you'd like to know more about Islam, contact me. Maybe drop an email address or something, right? That's what I would do. That would be the initiation initially. And then when you start talking to them, see what they're really interested in. Is it that they're really interested in jinn, or is it that they're really interested in the supernatural? Because there's a difference between the two, right? Is it that they're looking for something else? Because you never know what their real interest is. But that's how I would approach them. I would start off by just generally sending them a nice message, saying, look, if you're interested, please do contact me, and I can give you some more insights from the Islamic perspective on jinn and all of these types of things. That's what I would do, bro.
Okay. All right.
And then obviously when they start speaking to you, good old go rap, bring the go rap back in, and just give them dawah. It's maybe they ask you questions about jinn, maybe answer a few, and then say, you know what, let me give you some of the fundamentals of Islam first, which will better help us contextualize the whole discussion of jinn, and then start talking about the foundations, which is who is Allah, about the Quran, about prophethood, about the oneness of Allah. Contextualize it all, bro. Because jinn isn't the topic of jinn isn't in isolation from our perspective. It's a part and parcel of our deen.
So pretty much is a hook in terms of they've been hooked in to an aspect of Islam, which is jinns, right?
Yeah.
And then you'd sort of lead them on to saying, you could talk about what we were talking about earlier on in this stream about shaitan, and then how he disobeyed Allah, and then how we came about as man, and then you could talk about obeying Allah. Why we exist is to worship Allah, right?
Yeah.
Both man and jinn. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So and then you could just hit them in the garab. Yeah. Makes sense.
You have the video, Jamal.
You know what? I don't think we're supposed to play this video today because I'm struggling to get it up.
Okay.
Is it possessed?
Yeah, maybe it must be. Yeah. But carry on. I'll be with you.
Inshallah.
Okay.
So yeah, brothers and sisters. Look, I think it's very interesting that there are so many people out there, that are interested in this type of stuff, and they're looking into jinn and watching videos and reacting, and it's an opportunity to give them da'wah as well, inshallah, right? It's an opportunity to share the message of Islam with them. And even those non-Muslims out there, bro, that may not be doing videos on YouTube, but there are many non-Muslims out there that are really genuinely interested in these topics. Yeah, I
mean, spirituality, or there is that crossover. There's definitely that crossover.
Well, you have so many ghost hunter videos on, even on TV, mainstream
National Geographic,
everywhere, Netflix, everywhere. Yeah. Why? Because they're popular. They're popular because people are watching them, right? So there are loads of people that are interested in these topics, you know. So reach out to them and just just tell them, look, you're interested in this topic? Look at what Islam has to say. You know, look at what the Quran says in regards to these topics, and that's your gateway into dawah to them, inshallah.
All right, I'm gonna speak to the brothers now. We're gonna write up some material about it. See if we could do any publications on it.
Yeah, honestly, you know, the paranormal, aliens, what else? Dreams, you know, things like this. People are really interested in these topics, man. You know, and Islam speaks about many of these things, if not all of these things. Yes.
Let's have a go.
All right, we're gonna try again.
Bismillah.
We're going to be in the top hand corner so we can comment on it.
So we're going to do a reaction video as well, brothers and sisters.
I always wanted to do one of these.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أعوذ بكلمات الله تمام شر ما خلق. بسم الله بسم الله بسم الله أعوذ لا إله إلا الله. بسم الله بسم الله بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لا إله إلا الله. بسم الله.
That was the intro. I think it's the best bits.
Was he just about to eat? Or is this why he's saying Bismillah?
I don't know.
That's a long intro, isn't it?
That's a very long. Ahmed.
Okay. So do we know the story, the background behind
No, so let me give you guys a bit. This is just one of those adventures, bro. That
الأرض واللي في السماء وهو السميع العليم. الله لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم.
There's some people in the live stream first time they're watching one of these videos.
له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض من ذا الذي يشفع عنده إلا بإذنه. يعلم ما بين أيديهم وما خلفهم ولا يحيطون بما شاء وسع كرسيه السماوات والأرض.
It's obviously an abandoned building or something.
في أحد؟
Anyone?
بسم الله. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق.
سبحان الله.
بسم الله الذي لا يضر مع اسمه شيء في الأرض ولا في السماء وهو السميع العليم.
It looks like my bedroom.
حصنت نفسي بلا إله إلا الله. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Move through with the camera.
الله لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم لا تأخذه سنة. لا إله إلا الله. بسم الله بسم الله بسم الله بسم الله بسم الله بسم الله بسم الله. أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لا إله إلا الله. لا إله إلا الله. لا إله إلا الله. لا إله إلا الله. أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق. أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق. أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق. بسم الله بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق. بسم الله بسم الله بسم الله. أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق.
It doesn't seem like anyone else is there.
لا إله إلا الله. لا إله إلا الله. أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق. أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق. بسم الله بسم الله. أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق. أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق. أعوذ بكلمات من شر ما خلق. أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق. بسم الله الرحمن. بسم الله الذي لا يضر مع اسمه شيء في الأرض ولا في السماء وهو السميع العليم.
There's a good question. Someone asked, why is he still in there?
بسم الله 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 لا اله الا الله. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لا اله الا الله. 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 بسم الله الذي لا يضر مع اسمه شيء في الارض وهو السميع العليم. بسم الله الذي لا يضر مع بسم الله الرحمن بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. من رجل بسم الله.
Just don't know, man.
بسم الله. بسم الله.
What do you guys think so far?
بسم الله.
I think that's enough. We can pause there. How long is it? It's almost coming to an end.
Okay.
الله لا اله الا هو الحي القيوم لا تاخذه سنة له ما في السماوات وما في الارض. لا اله الا الله. بسم الله. بسم الله.
Yeah, so see, one of the things you'll see that there's loads of videos like this. It's almost like everyone's copying each other in the style. It's that handy cam style. Everyone's going in.
Yeah,
You know, my first question is, why would you go to a place like this?
Okay, I think someone just, I think Amal said, here in Saudi Arabia, we know where to find them, especially in the desert. It's part of our culture.
Well, it seems, yeah, obviously it seems like that because there's many people that are doing this, but it's still it's one of those things. Is why would you go there still, even if you know there's such places and stuff like this? That's the first question that comes to mind, right? Because from an Islamic perspective, we shouldn't really be trying to deliberately engage with the jinn.
Yeah.
Right? It's not something that we should be doing.
I think someone actually wrote that as a question. I think they were joking, but it was like, should we give dawah to jinn? So
Should we give dawah to jinn?
yeah, something like that.
Well, we shouldn't seek it out.
I
right?
mean, but no, I mean, we shouldn't interact with them at all.
Yeah, so that's the first thing. The second thing is, like, are all of these videos true, real? I don't think so. I think, if it's something becomes a trend and the nature of YouTube, then obviously
we're in this culture now anyway of where people know it's what's it, fantasticism or whatever. So it's just this whole thing of people getting more views and stuff like that. But obviously we have to remember that because there are so many fake programs on TV, but we do know of a surety that the jinns exist. And there's a famous, well-known book by a well-known author about essays on the jinn. And he talks about how someone asked a question that in the Catholic exorcisms, why is it that they work?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, and what the author said was that it's because the jinn's whole purpose is to deceive mankind and to mislead mankind and to lead them to the hellfire. So what better way to do that than if someone is trying to expel a jinn in the name of Jesus Christ or some other person that's worshipped other than Allah, then the best thing the jinn can do is to leave that person at that point, leave them alone.
Very interesting.
So then that it can. So obviously, then they will continue to be misled.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, but not all jinn are bad. The ones
not all.
Absolutely, yeah, that's right.
The jinns who interact with us, the ones that then they're the ones who are bad, right?
But you can see how such videos will be so intriguing, to a non-Muslim audience and someone that may be interested in this stuff already.
Yeah.
Because it's just, it keeps you on the edge of your seat. You don't know what's going to happen. And I mean, when you watch it, you can't really tell. Because there's some videos out there that are obviously faked. Yeah, you look at it and okay, subhanAllah, this is just like, they put this whole thing together.
100%.
But with these examples, you don't know. Allah knows best, bro, if it's real or not, But it is very intriguing. And hence, I think, it is. Again, it goes back to the thing. Why is this topic so
rampant?
Why is it so? Why are so many people so fascinated by the jinn and supernatural stuff?
It's actually a very good question, Imran, because there's this whole fear factor thing, And that's what it is. And so then that begs the question, you know, obviously people like to have that, you know, just like watching a horror film. When you watch a horror film, you like to be scared. You like to have that thrill. But, you know, the fear that we're supposed to have, we tend not to have it. We're more afraid of the dark than we are of Allah. So this is like something which I guess people need to address when they are watching these things. Unless you're like me, you're not scared of it, then that's different.
You're not scared of it at all, Jamal?
Nah, not really.
Would you go into a place like that?
Bro, back in the day before I
with
came into
your
Deen,
with your brand new DSLR or one of these really nice cameras instead of a phone camera.
Listen, before I came into Deen, that's the stuff I used to do, bro.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I used to do.
No way.
Seriously, yeah, I used to be into parapsychology.
SubhanAllah.
Okay.
Yeah, so like the supernatural and stuff like that. So, you know, the parapsychologists at the time when I used to study it, they were people who they weren't necessarily believers in the supernatural. They were there to disprove it unless it was proven to exist. So it was a different angle. So rather than going in there saying, "Oh, there's going to be ghosts and spooks here," it was like, "Well, no, there's, you know, obviously let's go there to eliminate them first, and after that, if there's something still there, then it, you know, puts a bigger question mark." So
how long did you do this for? Was it?
Oh, I didn't do it professionally. I did it as like when I was growing up. Me and my friends, we used to love it. So, you know, there used to be places like old monasteries in Berkshire in the Slough area, stuff like that. And you know, I've got some very interesting stories actually of what happened to me.
What was the if you were to just take one, you know, the most freaky or the most sort of shocking you know, thing that you ever saw or experienced?
Okay, look, my friend and I, we were visiting, as I said, this old like monastery in Staines, and it was actually in the land, in the ground of a farm. So it was like right in the middle of the field. So it was like really, we went there at night. This time we went there a couple of times. This time we went there in the daytime, and we were on the sort of the side part of this.
Daytime, yeah?
Yeah, and it was this big, massive mansion, and just on the edge of it, there was like the servants' quarters, and that's where we were sitting. And we're sitting there, it had this really old furniture and stuff like that. It was so interesting at the time, and it was in broad daylight as well. So we were just inspecting it. So what happened is there was broken glass outside, and we heard someone walking on the broken glass, and we thought it was the landowner because obviously we were trespassing, right? So this is before Deen, guys. So don't tell me off because I wasn't Muslim back then, yeah. So we started to get worried, thinking it was the owner of the land. So we were sort of hiding out a little bit, and we can hear the steps coming towards us a little bit more, coming closer to the door. So we thought, okay, do you know what? There's no point in trying to hide. He obviously knows that we're here. We came out, and when we came out, there was just no one there. The broken glass was on the floor, but there was no one there.
Allah.
So yeah, that was very interesting. How we would explain that off, I have no idea. But you know, as I said, you know, we do have these things that exist, and it's a proven fact. Why? And obviously, this is like the right environment for the jinn as well. They like to be in deserted places, right? That's where they reside. You know, so it was a perfect. You know, we were probably trespassing on them because you know it was their home more than likely. So yeah, we probably got off quite lightly.
Any other sort of?
So many, bro. So many. Subhanallah.
Bro, so let me ask you this then: when you came to Islam, was there any sort of?
There must be that penny drop moment, right? Because you were like, moments?
Exactly. The penny drop moment was the fact that, you know, when people were saying they were seeing ghosts, right? And you know, then we come into the Deen of Islam and we learned that there's no such thing as ghosts. They do not exist. But you would have jinn, especially like mischievous jinn, who may you know, who can take on the form of a deceased person, or even then they even have to take on the form exactly. If they want to be mischievous, they could even just, you know, pretend to be that person in different ways. And you know, this is like we know that the mischievous, the shayateen will do all of these types of things. So that's when the penny dropped for me, and it became very interesting. So that's why over the years I've collected quite a few different types of jinn stories. But you know, the best ones really are the ones where, I mean, even Ibn Taymiyyah, rahimahullah, he had a book on the jinn. It talks about the case of a man who went to take shelter in a cave. While he was sleeping, he was woken up by a family of jinn, and they offered their daughter to him for marriage. And I can't remember the rest of that particular case now, but there's so many. So obviously today, when we're talking about how we apply that to the dawah, I think what you said was perfect. The fact that so many people are fascinated by the supernatural, and it is a very, very good way to just introduce them to Islam. 100%.
SubhanAllah. SubhanAllah. Yeah. Amazing, Jamal. SubhanAllah. You know, I would love to hear some of these stories off record as well.
Definitely, bro. Definitely.
So maybe after this live stream, inshallah.
Definitely.
But yeah, I think any comments, bro? Any questions? Anything anyone's sort of?
Yeah, people just saying, you know, some people just get a bit silly, really. Any jinn girls want to get married? ? That's from It's Wrong to Kill Frogs. Oh, is he? They were on the live stream the other day, weren't they? Okay. There's quite a few guys who were on the live appeal from the other day. There's some regulars. Mohammed Hedieb. He says, yeah, he knows. There's a famous Egyptian actor in a desert was hit with something, and the whole filming crew didn't catch it. Now he has a scar right above his eyebrow. His name is Amir Karara. Yeah, so just like everyone just having input in regards to their jinn stories and what they've come across in that regard.
So I guess what we should do is wrap it up, bro.
I mean, pretty much
summarize everything.
Yeah, so go on, summarize it.
No, you start off by summarizing it, bro, inshallah.
I mean, it's pretty much what we touched upon, this point of how to, like, you know, when non-Muslims do, I mean, that's our focus area, right? We're not just going to do a video about jinns for the sake of it, just to get the hits, right? But then it's also about how we could sort of share Islam with that non-Muslim. So if there is a non-Muslim that you do know who's had any sort of supernatural experiences, maybe you could sort of explain to them about the Islamic concept of jinn, and then like what you touched upon earlier was sort of tie it back into the go rap, and then give them dawah, give them the real dawah. Whereas this is just a hook, really, more than anything else.
Yep.
And then pretty much everyone's saying at the end, I couldn't put it better than myself, was that it's something that we shouldn't never really fear anyway if we do come across a jinn.
And we shouldn't go looking for one.
You shouldn't really go looking
for one, yeah.
Shouldn't go out, but unless it's part of, someone said it's part of the Saudi culture, but yeah, we shouldn't really go out way looking for it. That's for sure.
SubhanAllah. Yeah,
and we should only fear Allah, pretty much.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, and like this is the thing. So it's from a dawah perspective, bro. It's very powerful. You know that people are interested in this stuff. Why not approach them? Why not speak to them? Why not show them what Islam says in regards to this, and then take them to what's really important, which is who their creator is, you know, and why he created us and these other beings that they are so fascinated with, basically.
You know what we should do? We should try hitting up all these non-Muslim reactionists, if that's even a word, and just message them and try to invite them on a live stream or for an interview. Let's do that.
Absolutely. Yeah, that would be a good idea, inshallah.
And and if you are a non-Muslim who's watching this and who's interested in Islam, email us at stream@ira.org, and then maybe we could even have you in the show and talk about it potentially.
Brilliant. Jamal, anything else, bro? Any sort of summarizing, concluding words for people watching?
No, I completely agree with what you're saying. I think, you know, obviously the fascination is dangerous. It can be very dangerous because, you know, we can become very preoccupied with it, but if we apply it in the right way, where we actually are using it for dawah, then it opens up a whole new audience of people.
Yeah,
you know,
untapped.
So it's untapped. It's absolutely untapped, definitely. You know, but obviously we should also be careful as well, because within that scope of things, there's also like very many people who are
deviant, sort of like, you know,
deviant. People who have very sort of I don't know, like evil kind of ways of thinking. You know, you have obviously like devil worshippers, all this kind of stuff.
Exactly.
All exist within some of these
that realm,
in that realm. So you'd have to be very careful, like whatever you do. You know, but it is definitely opens up a complete new avenue of places to go for giving dawah. So yeah, definitely 100%. It's something worth looking into.
Absolutely. Jazakallah khair, guys, inshallah. Brothers and sisters, may Allah bless you. Thank you for joining in. Inshallah, we'll be back this Friday, inshallah. And we're going to be talking about the topic of dreams. So it's going to be another interesting one, inshallah. So make sure to, like I said, subscribe to the IRA channel, click the notification bell, and join us on Friday around
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock, inshallah. Same time. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu guys.
right there, son. Where'd he go?
Oh, there he is.
He's gone again. What do you think he's doing?
I
It's alright, guys, we're good. Just lost the screw. Found it.
Yeah, we know, mate. You tell them.
No, you tell him.
Don't send people mixed messages. Discover how you can speak about Islam with confidence by following IERA's free online step-by-step course. To register, visit training.iera.org now.